Some historians take the view that there wasn't such a thing as a distinctive Olmec society or ethnicity. They claim that a number of disparate but similar cultures arose at about the same time, and that these have mistakenly been classed as Olmec. This view is summarized in a 2004 book by American anthropologist and archaeologist Richard A. Deal, The Olmecs, America's First Civilization. In this, Deal states, "We do not know what these people called themselves, or if they even had a term that encompassed all the inhabitants of Olman. There is no evidence that they formed a single unified ethnic group, and almost certainly no Olmec considered people living more than a few hours' walk away as members of his or her own group." However, other equally respected academics take the opposite view, claiming that there was a specifically Olmec culture and society, and that this was the first to spread across Mesoamerica. The latter view received support in 2007 when a new Olmec city was discovered by archaeologists at Zazacatla in Cuernavaca, near Mexico City and hundreds of miles from San Lorenzo. This is a great deal further than a few hours' walk, and it lends credence to the view that the Olmecs not only represented a distinct and separate culture, but that this culture spread across much larger areas of Mesoamerica than had been previously understood. The debate is really about whether San Lorenzo was the hub of a new culture which spread to other areas, or whether it was simply one of several similar cultures which arose at around the same time. These competing ideas are sometimes called the mother culture theory, where the Olmecs are regarded as the first complex Mesoamerican culture, and the sister culture theory, where the Olmecs were one of several cultures which appeared at roughly the same time. The most recent detailed study, completed in 2005, used archaeological finds, including pottery, to look at this question. Archaeologists and scientists from George Washington University in Washington, D.C., led by Dr. Jeffrey P. Blomster, analyzed over 700 pieces of Olmec-style pottery collected from a range of locations in Mexico. Researchers compared these ceramics with the chemical composition of clays from various areas to determine where these pieces of pottery had originated. The results were interesting. Many pieces of Olmec-style pottery found in distant locations had actually been made from clays which originated in or close to San Lorenzo. This suggests that these pieces had been made in the Olmec capital, and then exported to other areas. However, the pottery found at San Lorenzo was all discovered to have originated there. If San Lorenzo were just one of several centers of growing civilization in the area, it would be reasonable to find that these centers had exchanged artifacts. But in this case, it is clear that San Lorenzo was exporting to other areas, but importing nothing in return. There also appears to have been very limited trade between other towns. For example, excavation shows that there was almost no trade between several towns in the valley of Oaxaca, which were less than 40 miles apart. Yet all these towns show evidence of receiving imports from San Lorenzo, 200 miles away. This supports the idea that San Lorenzo and the Olmecs were the main hub of regional culture, and not just one of several such hubs. This notion is also supported by the discovery of large ornate buildings in San Lorenzo, which were presumed to have been the residences of leaders.
This is the one thing they don't teach us. In elementary, middle school, you learn about the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas. Never hear about the Olmecs because they look black. All of the statues and all of the edifice that they contribute look like black people. And it took me fucking years to, like, in my adulthood to realize, like, why y'all motherfuckers ain't never teach us about the progenitor civilization that started Mesoamerica. This culture of black people. All the fucking Olmecs. Tight on my wrist. Kind of tight on my wrist.
Prairie towns and villages in other areas, nothing similar has been found. At the time when the Olmec leaders were living in opulent palaces decorated with massive statues made from imported stone, other chiefs were living in wattle and daub huts. It seems very likely that the Olmecs and San Lorenzo were not only the most advanced civilization in Mesoamerica by around 1100 BCE, but they may also have been the only culture to develop advanced engineering and architectural skills. In general, archaeologists and anthropologists agree that Olmecs did represent the original mother culture in Mesoamerica. If they were not actively colonizing other areas, they were certainly exporting their art, and most likely also their ideas. Compared with modern societies, the Olmecs weren't particularly numerous. It has been estimated that there were never more than around 30,000 Olmecs in all locations. However, these people seem to have been notably more advanced in many ways than their contemporaries.
Look, Cosmos, Possible Worlds is essentially going to pick up where the last Cosmos.
Olmec sculptures have been found that contain complex glyphs. We don't know what these mean, but they may be the first example of an attempt to record information in writing in Mesoamerica. Olmecs also produced cylinder seals, which were used to identify a particular person or group, usually when concluding agreements. Some Olmec sculptures appear to show scrolls, so it is also possible that these people had some form of conventional writing, though none have survived. There are indications that the Olmecs developed a calendar, also a first in Mesoamerica, and a strange magnetic box discovered near San Lorenzo suggests that they may have even understood the principle of the compass. It appears then that an advanced Olmec society centered in San Lorenzo gradually spread its influence to other parts of Mesoamerica from around 1150 to 900 BCE. Next, something dramatic happened. Like so many other aspects of the Olmec story, we aren't sure why, but in around 900 BCE, San Lorenzo was suddenly abandoned and most of its buildings destroyed. It is just possible that this was due to an invasion or attack from the outside, though no one has found evidence of another culture at the time comparable to the Olmec.
I know what the fucking lightning bolts mean, bro. Calm the fuck down. I know what the lightning bolts mean. Are you still a heroin addict? What time is it? It's 10:44 on a Sunday morning. And that's how this motherfucker want to start his day. It's all good because I ain't got shit else to do but talk shit. I ain't got shit else to do but talk shit. I mean, it's such a dry statement, such a boring way to start off a troll. Then the apology. Okay. I guess, what are you trying to say? All black people look alike? I'm still not feeling you, bro. Still not feeling you. You intended on trolling some black dude or something with dreads? Asking if they're a heroin addict? You realize it's the wrong person? And then you want to apologize? First of all, trolls should never apologize. If you're going to be a real troll, a true, authentic troll, if you want to take your trolling to the next level of trolliosity, you don't apologize. Oh, sorry, wrong streamer. My apologies. Now you just seem extra weird. You just added a whole extra layer onto that shit. Because there is no way in fucking hell that you could even assume this was any other streamer. This art studio is so unique. You've never seen this anywhere else before. You've never seen this art studio before. How could you even think it was someone else? Damn, bro. I hope you home by yourself. I hope nobody ain't around you while you doing this shit. Don't let nobody know you doing this shit at before 11 o'clock in the daytime. That shit don't make you cool. So, what we doing today? Working on a commission painting, because I need that money. There's another painter in the playroom with an afro. I bet there is, bro. Yeah, motherfuckers be sharing the shit out of my posts, yo. I'm happy about that. Oh, I had a I had an online argument with somebody. Y'all want to see? It's on my Facebook. That shit is funny. People be tripping me the fuck out, yo. I swear they do. So let's go to my personal Facebook page. Oh, you see me looking extra strong. Y'all do this in the morning? When y'all wake up in the morning, y'all do this right here? Y'all go do some 60-pound lunges. 30 pounds in each hand. Y'all don't do that, do it. Keep your legs strong, man. So if you gotta kick somebody in the nuts, when you kick them, they gonna feel it. And if you got weak legs and you try to kick somebody, they gonna beat your ass. But if you got strong legs and you kick somebody, you'll put them down. You kick them in the groin. But y'all don't do that though, cause y'all don't do lunges in the morning. I ain't gonna hate on you cause you don't do lunges though. Do y'all even do pull-ups? No? Y'all don't do pull-ups in the morning? I mean like real pull-ups? Like a whole, like all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Y'all don't do pull-ups. No. What about squats? Y'all be squatting? Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Y'all don't do that, man. Y'all don't be doing stuff like that. I don't even know why I even asked. I'm not just a painter. Alright, go to my page. And yesterday I posted this. Trans women are men. Because it's true. I mean, if you're born a man, you're a man. If you're born a woman, you're a woman. But trans women they're still men who feel like they're a woman, but they're a man. And oh my God, 25 comments. So there's one dude. He used to be on my Facebook a lot, but he kind of disappeared for a while, and then all of a sudden he came back and said all of this right here. He said this whole, oh, it's more. He said this whole long ass paragraph about this post now. This post says trans women are men. And so everybody agrees, facts. You know, everybody's agreeing with this shit. And then this guy comes in and he says, okay, but how are you going to post about justice and equality and athletes not caring and then share a hateful post like this, which clearly lacks any research or respect for equality? Okay. First of all, let's go back. Because even in his first paragraph, I mean, his first couple of sentences, he's already fucked up and misconstruing what I say. So I said, there y'all go worrying about sports teams and celebrities that don't care about you. Y'all mofos silly as fuck. Why y'all want to talk about Cardi B and what her husband name is, cheating and all this shit and all these fucking sports and all that shit? That's the dumb shit. Motherfucking silly as fuck. That's the only thing y'all talk about is celebrities and sports teams who don't care about you. So yeah, I post that because there's so many people in my timeline posting shit about Cardi B. I'm like, yo, fuck, why is y'all even caring about this shit? And so he says, You post about athletes not caring. I didn't say anything about athletes not caring. I said, why do people care about athletes who don't care about you? You know what I'm saying? I have to be honest. It's just foul, and it's just foul to see crap like this. I'd encourage you to watch The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson, as well as doing more listening to what trans people have to say. Whether you can bring yourself to get it or not, I think you have to be missing empathy altogether to see how trans people are treated, abused, tortured in this world, and still find it okay to share hateful views like this. Honestly. And I say that with no agenda, simply as someone who's been on the wrong side of having an opinion about how people choose to identify. I've never thought it was hateful, but even having an opinion on an experience I can't understand was just being one more person contributing to the world where, regardless of whether you think there are mental things contributing to it or not, you're just adding to the hate and fear that drives these people to be killed or commit suicide at astronomical rates. There is nothing conscious or manly in being a part of that. Once again, this whole thing, you're just saying how trans people feel and how they're respected. I've never said I hate trans people. I've never said, you should commit any kind of violent acts towards trans people. I didn't say trans people aren't equal to anyone else. I said that trans women are still men. It's still a man. That's all I said. And there's nothing, you can say all this fucking sentiment and emotional type shit you want. It still doesn't fucking contradict what the fuck I said or what the fucking post said. Trans women are men. I don't give a fuck. You can say all this shit you want. And you're talking about this and equality. And I think you're missing empathy. You know what I said? Look, women have ovaries. Men have prostates. With surgery, you can make a penis look like a vagina, but you can't do it the other way around. I see the point you're attempting to make, but I guess I don't get it. But you see XX and XY, then the ability to grow a human inside your body, and well, I'm pretty sure you've heard all this before. And yet you are still convinced that you maintain a higher understanding and a greater moral clarity on this matter. I think I'll start identifying as a Caucasian male. I really feel like I should have been born white. If I choose to identify as a Caucasian male, does that negate what reality is? That in reality I'm a person of African descent? No, it doesn't. You can say what the fuck you want to say. I can call myself a goddamn unicorn. That shit don't change the fact what the fuck I am. Women have ovaries and men have prostates. If you was born with ovaries, you're a fucking woman. If you have a prostate and a penis, you're a goddamn man. My friend say, Travis, you have a great amount of patience. If this was my post, I'd be petty. I would be so petty if someone would try to check me about real life facts. Then this lady steps in. Gwendolyn Snow. Please live and let live. Stop attacking people just for the sake of being mean. There really is enough meanness going around. There are so many causes you could attach yourself to that the outcome would be positive. This is surely not one of them. Please stop. Please stop. Please live and let live. Stop attacking people. Who the fuck am I attacking? The post, and I didn't even make the post. I just reposted the post that says trans women are men. How is that an attack? What kind of fucking language are you guys using? And then how is it mean? I replied to her, so mean. Please stop. When did stating a fact become mean? If you say something that is factual, how is that mean? I wear a size 10 shoe. Oh, well, you can't go around telling people I wear a size 10 shoe. What? It's the truth. What the fuck? Okay, so she came back. Why don't you concern yourself with issues that directly affect you? You have no earthly idea what these people are going through. So I replied, so many causes I could attach myself to. Do you know me? Do you know what I'm about or what I do? I make dozens of posts you silly, simple-minded motherfuckers can't comment on because you know nothing about. But your little dumbass to say something on a post like this. Get off my dick, you rabbit-minded cunt. You probably don't have a dick which describes your behavior, and I refuse to belittle myself in further exchange with such a coward. Nobody's still not saying that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. I don't give a fuck if you think it's mean. I'm not attacking anybody. I'm not disrespecting anybody. It's a factual statement. It's a factual statement. Why are people so mad about that shit, yo? And they're just using all this emotional sentiment and not trying to actually refute what the post says. The post says that trans women are men. You're not trying to debate the post itself. You're not trying to negate directly what the statement says, that trans women are men. Everybody want to say, oh, you're fueling the hate and you don't understand these people and that's why they commit suicide, and because you're a man. And I don't know, man, like, especially these far left motherfuckers, it's like, what did I say that's wrong? What did I say that is mean or hateful, disrespectful, or trying to deny anybody of equality and just being humane? Like, two people in there trying to debate that shit are trying to say what I'm saying. The simple fact that I reposted this post is wrong and I shouldn't have done that. Because I agree with the shit, because it's fact. it's a fact. Yo, what's up? Am I sweating in here? Damn. I ain't put no deodorant on after the shower. Let me put some deodorant on. OG Pit Swamp. I just took a shower right before I came up here. Started sweating, realized like, damn, I ain't put no deodorant on after I got out of the shower. Motherfucker, arm was hot as shit right there. Arm was getting hot. I'm getting heated talking about this dumbass fucking post. I be loving that shit though. Like once again, like I say, I post dozens of shit all fucking day. Y'all can't come at the other shit because y'all don't have no input on it. And like I randomly post this one fucking quote. I forgot where I heard it from, but it goes, small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events. Great minds talk about concepts and ideas. And so I really never try to post shit about people unless a person is talking about a larger concept or a larger idea. I just reposted some tweets from Kanye West, but he was saying some shit on a grand scale, trying to get people to look at the fucking system from a different way. Concepts, ideas, the concept of being transsexual, that you are a woman because you want to be a woman. Just because you want to be a woman, that shit don't make you a female. You can't. You don't have a uterus. You don't have ovaries. You don't have a womb. You can't grow a life inside of your body. You're not a female. You're not a woman. That's genetics. That's not a social construct. This is biology. We don't reproduce asexual. I identify as 1% wealthy. I'm in the 1%. Like I said, shit, I identify as a Caucasian male, yo. You know what I'm saying? I need some of that white privilege, yo. That's how I want to be identified as a white man. Because that's how I feel. I feel like I should have that sense of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Just given to me. I want to know how that is. I want to be a white man. But no matter how many times I tell people I'm a white man, no matter if I bleach myself pale like Michael Jackson, does that shit make me a white person? It don't. It don't. It don't. You can chop your nutsack off all you want. You still a man. you still a man, yo. People are weird on Facebook, and then call me a coward. I mean, I did call her a rabbit-minded cunt, but you're a cunt with a mind like a rabbit. I'm trying to call it how I see it. You sound real dumb right now. Once again, talking about emotions and feelings. I'm talking about legit reality, biological science. That's fucked up, man. And then they want to unfriend me. Bye. I say this shit all the time, yo. I rarely, barely ever send anybody a friend request on Facebook. Hardly ever, ever. So if you're on my Facebook page, you asked to be there. You sent me a friend request. Hey, can I be your friend on social media? If this is what you really want, you want this? That's what you really, really want? Okay. I did not invite you here, but I will grant you access. You came here on your own accord. Oh, now you mad at me. Now you telling me what you think I should and should not post and what I should and shouldn't say on social media. Get the fuck out my page then. I didn't invite you here. That's what I tell you. There's some people, especially like, because I do a lot of business, a lot of art business and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I do art business with some people, and they be trying to get on my social media and shit. Like, you don't need to see that shit. Me and you on a different page, because let's get this business done first, because you might be one of them motherfuckers who get mad at me about a post that is a fact, but you got different opinions, and it hurt your feelings. Now you ain't gonna want to do business with me no more, cause you think I'm an asshole or a dickhead or something. Like nah. Certain motherfuckers don't even need to be on my social. You want to be on my social media? Go to my Instagram. That shit is all art. I keep my Instagram strictly art. Y'all can see that shit all day. My personal, and then I have an art Facebook page too. If you want to see my art on Facebook, go to Paintings by the Prince on Facebook. You'll find me. But y'all be wanting to come to my personal Travis Prince, my shit. So y'all can see all the shit that I think, all the shit that I agree with, and some things I don't agree with. I'll post some shit I don't agree with and just say why I don't agree with it. But I really start doing that. Like, if I don't agree with something, why is shit even on my page? Everything on my page, I need to be like, y'all see that? Y'all see that? You know, I agree with this, I agree with that. And then some things I kind of agree with halfway, and, you know, and people don't really get that either. Like, I kind of see what they're trying to do here. You know what I'm saying? And I'll share that. Oh, well, this and that, and this and that. Man, I don't agree with that shit 100%, but it makes a good point. Okay, there's 5 points, and I like 3 of them out the 5. Okay, I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that one, but I agree with the other 3. So I shared it. You may agree with 1 and not agree with 4. You may agree with all 5. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. People get weird over social media. Yeah, that's true. The Feeling Brigade is the new party. That's the new dominant party. I'm telling you, man. Then like people like, oh, somebody came in here the other day talking about Trump 2020. I'm like, okay. He's like, I know that make you mad. I'm like, why would that make me mad? He started saying, oh, cause you Democrats all hate Trump, and then like, how do you just assume I'm a Democrat because I'm black? Like shit like that is weird as fuck, yo. Shit like that weird as fuck, cause I don't rock with neither one of these political parties. But like you say, the far right, these motherfuckers crazy as shit. The uber conservatives, they crazy. The liberals, they crazy. The far left, these motherfuckers think a man can really be a woman. And they want to have pedophile, transsexual drag queens having story time, reading books to your kids in kindergarten. I don't mind guests and visitors coming to the school, reading story time to the little kids. I do mind when it's a pedophile, transsexual drag queen. Huh? And then somebody posted in the elementary school, they got flags, Black Lives Matter, and then the rainbow flag next to that shit. Is gay rights and Black Lives Matter, is that like a conjoined thing? Why is either one of these flags in the fucking school? Why is y'all hanging this shit in the fucking school? Huh? Why ain't you teaching these kids they should be a big ass flag of the periodic table of elements? The Fibonacci sequence. Shit like that. You got a fucking rainbow flag in elementary school? Huh? Man, this country going to fucking hell fast in a handbasket. Up shit's creek, no paddle. Fuck wrong with these people, yo? Damn. What? Yo. First they hit you with the common core education. Now they got Black Lives Matter, rainbow flags and banners in the schools. I heard in goddamn in the UK, they dropped the age of consent to 15. You gonna have these gay social justice warriors, 15 years old, fucking all these old creepy ass white politicians and shit. Yo, this world is going crazy, son. They about to make pedophilia legal, brainwashing the kids to think that shit is cool and okay. I be wanting to read these motherfuckers shit again. Okay, but how are you going to post about justice and equality and athletes not caring and then share a hateful post like this which clearly lacks any research and respect for equality? The post says, trans women are men. And it's a cute little drawing of what could be a girl or guy. I don't know. How's that? Where's the hate? Where's the lack of research or respect for equality? Is this really happening? How did you get all of that from this is hate? How is that hate? I have to be honest. It's just foul to see crap like this. I'd encourage you to watch The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson, as well as doing more listening to what trans people have to say. No. I didn't. The View went at Joe Rogan. I'm gonna have to look that up. Yo, what's up? What's up? Why are you suggesting a documentary about some transsexual who got murdered or something? Do I feel bad about that shit? Nobody don't deserve to get murdered. I don't give a fuck what you do in life. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what you do in life. If you ain't hurting nobody else, if you not directly implementing pain and suffering upon another living being intentionally, I don't give a fuck what you do. Fuck that. I don't care. Nobody should be murdered for anything at all. So trying to suggest I encourage you to watch The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson. I don't want to watch that shit. Huh? I encourage you to watch a documentary on Patrice Lumumba. Whether you can bring yourself to, in quotations, get it or not, I think you'd have to be missing empathy altogether to see how trans people are treated, abused, tortured in the world and would still find it okay to share hateful views like this. Hateful, again. Okay, once again, is it a reality that there's transphobia and all this shit? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Once again, that's not me. I have gay relatives in my family, yo. Like openly gay relatives. There's two that we kind of think maybe gay, but they're kind of scared to come out the closet. But that's cool too. Love them to fucking death, yo. Like, that shit don't change nothing. That's how you is. That's how you is. But you were born a boy and you were born a girl. Can't change that shit, yo. That's not hateful. How is that being hateful? Do I want anything to happen to you, my beloved loved ones, my blood, my flesh and blood relatives, because you're homosexual? I do not. I don't want no harm to come to you or anybody. So once again, you need to familiarize yourself with what trans people say and how they're treated, abused, and tortured. You know, the first time I had a gay friend was like years ago, working at a restaurant. When I got the job, me and this other dude got the job at the same time. We actually had our interviews the same day, and they hired both of us. My man Derek, and never forget this dude, motherfucker, cool as shit. He worked just like me. And around the same time, both of us got promotion to fucking shift managers. We working at a little fast food restaurant, you know what I'm saying? So now, you know, both of us working there for a couple months. He made shift manager. I made shift manager. Like, now we can, like, kind of put our own schedules together and shit. He had a brother and a sister. And he hired his brother. Told his brother to come to the restaurant and get a job. He told me before his brother started working there, he's like, yo, I'm gonna help my brother get a job here, yo, so he can work with his mates. Alright, cool. So his brother come there, first day of work, you look at him and it's like, so I work with him for like a week or so, and then me and my man's like, we done work together for so long, we hang out outside of work. So me and him was smoking one time. I was like, yo, what's up with your brother, yo? I just had to ask him that shit. He was like, yeah, my brother gay, man, you know what I'm saying? He got a boyfriend and this and that, but he's like, that's my brother, dude, and he's like, that's how he is. I'm like, oh, cause I knew something was funny with this nigga, yo. And so, like, a couple months after his brother was working there, one day after work, like, all of us were getting off work at the same time. And my homeboy asked if his brother can come back to my crib with us, cause we were gonna go to my crib and chill. He's like, yo, can my brother come and, you know, chill with us and shit? And I was like, I guess, you know what I'm saying? And I got to know the dude. Motherfucker's cool as shit, you know what I'm saying? And that was like the first time I actually, like, knew, like, an openly gay person. You know what I'm saying? And I had to realize too, like, you're just a person, dude. You're just a guy. You just like fucking guys. Like, as long as you don't do no gay shit with me, that's it. Like, I like women. You like dudes. Like, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Ain't no hate. Ain't no hatred there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how these people mad at this fucking post and then keep saying like, it's hateful, and I don't understand how people are treated and abused and all kind of shit. Because I do know how they're treated and abused. But still stating a fact is a fucking fact, yo. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, that's why I keep reading this shit over and over, because I don't get it, bro. Then people say this shit, and this is the only way you know me is from social media. Bitch, you don't fucking know me in real life. None of y'all. That's why the people who really do know me in real life don't say shit. It's only motherfuckers who think they have an understanding of who Travis is. Bitch, you don't fucking know me. You don't know the people I know, the people I associate myself with, the people I have talked to about shit like this, the people in my family who are fucking homosexual. Like, nobody don't know that shit. But then they want to say, oh, you spreading hate and being hateful, and I say that with no agenda, simply as someone who's been on the wrong side of having an opinion. Your opinion can't be wrong. It's an opinion. May your opinion go against the status quo? Yeah. Some people, once again, some people think pedophilia should be legal. and that's their opinion. Does it go against most the status quo? Yes, it does. You know what I'm saying? That you know, but you have your own opinions about any fucking thing. So, and you're having a wrong opinion and how people choose to identify. If you choose to identify, once again, if you choose to identify as a female, that don't make you a female. You can't get pregnant. Can you have a baby? Can you get pregnant? Do you have a menstruation cycle where you ovulate and your body releases eggs? No. Then you're not a fucking lady. You're not a woman. You're not a female. I don't care how you choose to identify. But anyway, and then the other lady comes in here and says, "Oh, please stop." And I will honestly swear on everything I love. I've never posted anything about, you know, this whole gay agenda, this transgender fad, and all of this shit. Even like girls wanting to be dudes, chopping off their fucking boobs and shit, and growing beards, taking testosterone and all that shit. Like, I don't really be posting about that shit, but it was something simple, straight to the point. And, you know, I didn't think it'd be a lot of confusion. Yo, trans women are men. Like, y'all want to know my opinion on this whole shit? That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But once again, like, out of all the other shit that I post, man, motherfuckers don't want to comment on none of that shit. But I post something on this, here come them far left social justice warriors. You can't say that. What are you doing? These people are being tortured, and you're being hateful by spreading these memes. Nigga. Wow. For real? So, a post about 9/11. Some workout footage trying to motivate motherfuckers to stay in the gym. Some Joe Rogan posts. You know, shit about trannies. More gym workout shit. More gym. People can't even post that shit because motherfuckers don't work out. Post shit about how different people think. The artist. This is, you know, the old cup half full. The optimist, the pessimist, the realist, the sickest, the socialist, the surrealist, the relativist, the utopiast, the skeptic, and the artist. Got a brush in this fucking paint. And I mean, got a brush in the water. That was funny. SpaceX. You know what I'm saying? Still talking about going to Mars. You know, some old artwork. Had to repost some old artwork. You're concerned about whites becoming a minority in America? Why? Are minorities treated bad there? That's funny. That's funny. These are the type of conversations I love, but y'all want to talk about rappers, football players. We're not on the same page. This right here says, look, it isn't so much that I hate talking, I just hate small talk. Can we talk about something big instead? Mark all of the stuff you want to discuss. What makes us human? The best advice you've ever got. Literature. That worry that keeps you up and awake at night. The paranormal. Civil rights. Weird facts. Things that make your heart swell with joy. How to define success. Conspiracy theories. Mistakes you've learned from. Spirituality. Childhood memories. The words you regret not saying. See, how many... No comments. Nobody don't want to comment on shit like that. A tutorial about different types of art presented from the State Museum of Pennsylvania featuring my art. No comments. I got people to comment on that right there a little bit. Would Christians be raising money for Kyle Rittenhouse's legal defense if he were a 17-year-old black kid? That shit just looks different, yo. Look at little Kyle, and it's like, yeah, he was trying to protect people, but then just how we're programmed, like if it's a black kid, even to me it looks like, nigga, what you doing with that gun? What you doing out there, boy? You know, but that's that programming. That shit looks weird, right? But he was able to go out there and kill 2 people, shoot another person, and then get away for a while, then turn himself in alive, you know. But if it was this kid, man, that motherfucker would have been dead on the spot. Nobody want no comments, you know. Why your country needs to stop selling out to China, the world built by China. No comments on that, you know. Oh, this right here is about nobody heard this right here.
This is probably just a coincidence. I hope it is, because if it's not, it could spell bad news for American democracy. First, Kamala Harris made a reference to a Harris administration while giving a speech recently. She said a Harris administration, together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States, the Biden-Harris administration will provide access to $100 billion in low-interest loans and investments for minority business owners. Got that? She accidentally called it the Harris administration, putting herself at the top as president, and then caught herself and quickly tried to correct it by referring to the Biden-Harris administration. Now, she was probably just stumbling around because she was stumbling in other parts of the speech too, but it's still a weird stumble, especially when you consider this. Just the next day, Biden was giving a speech when he said, the Harris-Biden administration is going to relaunch that effort and keep pushing further to make it easier for military spouses and veterans to find meaningful careers, to ensure teachers know how to support military children in their classrooms, and to improve support for caregivers and survivors so much more now than we do. Got that? He accidentally referred to their administration with her at the top as president as well. And yeah, he could have just been stumbling around too, as all of our politicians.
Yeah, but this ain't that, you know, nobody got comments on that, because I've been saying that too, like, from the beginning. Kamala Harris is going to be if the Democrats can sway, which I really doubt. I think Trump is going to keep the seat, but if the Democrats can sway the vote and they actually do get in there, it's going to be Kamala Harris, and then they're going to portray her as the first African American female president, which is a complete fucking lie, because she's not African American at all. And they're just going to let Biden just like slide off into the shadows and shit. Oh, appreciate it too, said. But the museum actually purchased my painting. It's just not on display. It is officially a part of a museum collection now. Posted this right here, some shit that Kanye was saying. More workout videos. Your boy stay in the fucking gym, yo. Weekend at Bites. That's so funny. Look at it, yo. Weekend at Bites. Oh, damn. Top 6 freedom fighters, but y'all can't name these people. Yeah. Barbados to remove Queen Elizabeth as head of state. You know, got a couple comments on that. Ooh, the latest episode of my TV show. Because I do a real TV show for people who don't know. Like, I'm not just on YouTube.
Another episode of Electric City Television's Roundtable Discussions. I'm your host, Travis Prince, and today our guest is Matt Cannizzaro. Matt Cannizzaro is a 2020 grad from Marywood University. He's a painter, designer, entrepreneur, writer, and musician. He is also known as Cat Matthews in the music industry. Here's Matt Cat. Matt, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. I'm really happy to have you here and do a more of a official interview with you. Last December, we were at the AFA Gallery for the member show, and we did a small interview then, so I definitely wanted to bring you back and have a more in-depth conversation about you and your art.
Honored to be here.
Thank you. The first thing that I want our viewers to know is a little bit about your background.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So, I went to high school, of course, and I never took an art class. ever.
Throughout high school?
Never.
Not-
I loved art, though.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble a lot for drawing on tests and things, but I never took an art class.
Yeah, so if you guys want to watch like my real TV show, y'all can catch that right there. Yeah, she's Indian and what? Haitian or something? I don't know. Couple of comments on this right here, but this is because some dude was trying to say it was from the Bible. I don't know. He tried to use this to prove the Bible. I'm like, you're stupid, bro. A little post like this: if you don't have a felony, get you a damn gun. But nobody don't hardly comment. That boy stay in the gym, boy. Nobody don't hardly ever comment on none of my shit, yo. But you post some shit saying that a man is a man, even if he get breast implants. I don't give a fuck. You got breast implants on me, you still a dude. You ain't you chop your dick off, damn. You got breast implants and you chop your dick off, but you still a man. You still a man. And then, like I say, you can't do that shit in reverse. You can't make a trans woman can only like cut her breast off. Or if she has like small tits, if she work out hard enough, yo, like your tits will go away because it's just mostly fat. Is fatty cells that make up the breast. So that's why like bodybuilder women, their fucking boobs get small because they're building up so much muscle and losing that fatty tissue. But even if a trans female does that and takes steroids and grows a beard and gets her voice all deep, you can't grow no dick, bitch. And there ain't no surgery you can have to turn your pussy into a dick. So like I say, it can only go one way. Cause the men have more options to look like a female, and they can have surgeries to manipulate their sex organs to look like a vagina, but the female can't have any kind of surgery that I'm aware of that would give her an artificial penis that would have like sensations and real nerve endings and shit like that. It's like, so if I would have said trans men are really women, like, would somebody get mad at that? Because you can't grow no dick. You ain't got no testicles, so you're a woman. Like, I can fuck you and you still get pregnant, bitch. I don't give a damn how much muscles and beard you got. Somebody come in you gonna have a baby, and you can't change that. You know what I'm saying? I say that's why there's the weird shit with the dude. Like, you can make that shit look like a pussy, but I'm still a man, yo. Like, anyway, talked about that shit for a whole fucking hour, yo. Just because people on Facebook, they're so sensitive, man. Like, we're living in this really weird time where you can't say anything without somebody saying it's hate. Like, over and over, telling me that's hate. Like, how are you putting out this hateful stuff? Like, dude, like, that shit making me feel like, for a minute now, like, when I first read it, it was like, oh, wow, really? That's what you think? And then, like, it only took that 1 second to be like, fuck you, you're a dumbass. Like, you trying to make me feel bad, and I kind of, not mind, I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel like it's hate. I don't want to hate nobody. That's my main thing too. I don't want nobody to hate me. You know what I'm saying? I got like a few exes. I try to be friends with even my exes, yo. Like, yo, if we break up, our relationship don't work out, let's do this like in an adult way, so that there is no like heavy animosity. I don't want you to hate me. I don't want to hate you. I want to be able to, when I see you, be like, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like, I don't want nobody to hate me. So when that motherfucker kept saying, he said hate like 2 or 3 times, I'm like, is it really that bad? Is it a hate post? Am I hating? I don't think I was hating, but That's like me saying you cannot be pro-black as you portray yourself and date white women as you do. But hey, we can all have an opinion, right? I portray myself to be pro-black. There's nothing like, once again, I don't even like using phrases like that. You would never ever see anything, especially on the social media shit, and even in my streams, how many times like I'm pro-black, pro-black. Who the fuck? That shit is so cliche. I hate shit like that. I hate shit like that. And this is coming from like some light-skinned mixed chick who claims she's pro-black and all this shit. Like, what the fuck does that even have to do with anything? I mean, people are still trying to make a fucking point and not making a fucking point. You still didn't make a point. This is biology, not sociology. There's a fucking difference. Once again, all these motherfuckers who never comment on anything else I post, they don't never comment on nothing fucking else, yo. Yeah. This is art and education, not sports and entertainment. I do not watch sports. I could give a rat's ass about a fucking playoffs, bro. See, I can tell we are already different. I don't watch sports. That shit ain't got. Damn, I ain't got no water up here. Bro, I need a water so bad. Sports ain't got shit to do with me. Ooh, got that juice. Got that juice. Had to wet my whistle. Alright. So, yesterday evening, I actually came back in the studio and worked on this piece a little longer. I just didn't stream it. But I did paint some more of his... Right there? Yeah. So you can kind of see the difference now between this hand and this hand. A lot brighter. The textures are a lot more blended. It's not as choppy. So I kind of stopped right here at the pinky. You can really clearly see where I stopped painting at right there last night. So I got, you know, the thumb and all it is. Really worked on that shadow for a minute. The shadow from his thumb, because he has the light is to his back, and so that's why the shadows are falling forward like this, and his face is kind of, it's dark because he's actually in his own shadow. But this part, I just like this part right here with the shadow from his thumb, and then this bright highlight that comes around on his knuckles. And he has a watch and a gold bracelet on. My man was a baller, and he at the docks with the boats. Got on his boating shirt. You know what I'm saying, with the Ray-Bans. Man was a baller, yo. That's how you can tell a baller. A man wear a watch, you know, that's kind of average. Man got a watch and a bracelet. Watch out there, boy. Watch out. That man got some $100 bills in his pocket. Huh? What? He smoke good cigars. He drink that good whiskey. He don't drink that rock gut shit. Man drink good whiskey. So you're gonna be working on this a little bit longer. I say I only got like really the back of his hand, like this portion here, this pinky. Then I can move over here. I think I'm gonna finish the skin tone out and then do the shirt, and then start back at the top and bring it all back down one more time. But it's looking freaking awesome. Hey, shit looks really good. You'll see. You'll see when it's done. I'm the greatest. I'm the best who ever did it. Alright.
Or capable of successfully attacking them. It is also notable that some aspects of the destruction of San Lorenzo seem to have involved planning. For example, many of the colossal stone heads there were carefully buried. This seems to suggest that it is more likely that the city was deliberately abandoned by the Olmecs. But what could have caused them to leave their most important cultural center? Archaeologists and historians have speculated about the possibility of some kind of internal uprising, possibly with the alternative ruler making a bid for power, but we can't be certain. Another theory is that there were environmental changes, possibly involving the Coatzacoalcos River, which caused the Olmecs to abandon San Lorenzo. This river floods during the rainy season, and this regular inundation is part of what made the land close to San Lorenzo so fertile. It has been speculated that some large-scale environmental change, or possibly silting up parts of the river which may have caused it to change its course, meant that the agricultural land close to San Lorenzo became less productive and unable to support the people living in the city. All we can be certain about is that for some reason, between approximately 950 BCE and 900 BCE, the city of San Lorenzo was abandoned. Its colossal stone heads were carefully buried, and many of the statues and buildings were destroyed. However, this didn't mark the end of the Olmecs. Instead, they seem to have relocated from San Lorenzo to a new capital, some 65 miles to the northeast. What we know of Olmec religion comes entirely from archaeological excavation. Many figures and statues have been recovered, as well as decorated pottery, which seems to show supernatural beings, and these have been assumed to be some kind of deities which were important to the Olmecs. It appears that the Olmecs had many gods, though their religion has been described as simplistic by some scholars because they seem to have had relatively few deities compared to later Maya, who worshipped more than 250 different gods, and the Aztecs, who believed in a pantheon of more than 1,000 gods. One of the most often repeated deities in Olmec art is a being which shows a combination of both human and jaguar features, often depicted as having a human body and a jaguar head. This being is often called the were-jaguar, and scholars have speculated that the Olmec were fascinated by the power and strength of the jaguar, and believed that some people could physically transform themselves, at least partly, into jaguars. Alternatively, it could be an allegorical attempt to suggest that some people could take on certain aspects of the jaguar, perhaps including its courage, cunning, and ability to see in the dark. Some people have suggested that the were-jaguar figures represent Olmec shamans, who perhaps wore jaguar skins and heads as part of their ceremonial costume, or who were believed to be able to transform themselves into jaguars.
That shit got me want to
The
watch
motif of
Apocalypto
the
now.
were-jaguar is present in many forms of Olmec art, and its presentation is generally very consistent. A human body is attached to a head, which has an elongated, cat-like snout and almond-shaped cat-like eyes. However, there are exceptions. For example, most of the colossal stone recovered from Olmec sites are presumed to be portraits of actual people, most likely Olmec rulers. But one of the basalt heads shows what seems to be the head of a man with the mouth of a jaguar. This head also features a strange cross over the right eye. The cross is a common glyph in Olmec art, but its meaning here is unknown. At least one Olmec statue shows a kneeling person holding the body of what seems to be a were-jaguar child, which also incorporates a large cross glyph on its chest. There has been speculation that this depiction of a jaguar-human hybrid is a representation of some royal lineage, where a particular family was either presumed to have descended from a jaguar god, or who perhaps were said to embody characteristics of the jaguar. There are different versions of the were-jaguar in Olmec art. Some show a human body attached to an almost fully represented jaguar head, while others show a human form which incorporates the mouth and ears of a jaguar. Notably, Olmec art which shows the were-jaguar does not include sexual characteristics. The human part of these figures could be either male or female, a feature of many Olmec creations which seem to show supernatural beings. Many incorporate the cross glyph, but we don't know what these differences signify, other than that this was clearly an important figure to the Olmecs. The were-jaguar wasn't the only supernatural being of interest to the Olmecs. A large number of other artifacts have been discovered which seem to portray deities of some kind. These range from enormous basalt statues to small carved figurines, but in addition to the were-jaguar, most seem to show 7 other distinct entities. One of the most significant of these was the Earth Monster, which appears to have been a creator god associated with the sun and fertility. This god is depicted as a dragon-like creature, often spouting flames. The Earth Monster is thought to be the predecessor of other Mesoamerican gods, including the Maya sky god Itzamna, and Xiuhtecuhtli, the Aztec Lord of Fire. Another important figure of the Olmecs was one which has been called the maize god. This is often depicted as a human, sometimes a child, with almond-shaped eyes and protruding lips, and with a corn cob growing out of a cleft in the top of its head. Many Mesoamerican cultures worship corn gods, but the Olmec version appears to have been the first. The Olmec bird monster is usually depicted as a figure which includes features of both birds and reptiles, though generally with a large bird-like beak. This is thought to have been a deity associated with the sun and sky, and possibly also with agriculture. The Olmec rain god is often depicted as a figure wearing a headband and ear ornaments, and displaying some were-jaguar features, generally a jaguar-like mouth. The coming of the rains and the flooding of the Coatzacoalcos River were important events without which agriculture would not be successful, so this must have been a very important deity to the Olmecs. One of the most mysterious Olmec gods was the Banded Eye God. The only known depiction of this deity are decorations carved on earthenware containers. The Banded Eye God is shown as a disembodied head with an open, toothless mouth, and one eye with a stripe across it. The Olmec Feathered Serpent seems to be another deity, though what it was associated with is unknown. It was depicted as a creature with the body of a snake and the head and neck of a large bird. The similarities with the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl and the Maya Cuculclan strongly suggest that these later deities were inspired by the Olmec Feathered Serpent. The Olmec fish god, or fish monster, was generally depicted as having a human-like head and the body of a large fish, often with a divided tail. Very little is known about the final Olmec god, which is generally depicted as a figure with a cleft head, which displays characteristics similar to the were-jaguar, including a large, though toothless mouth and almond-shaped eyes. One thing which is notable about this deity is that most depictions include a glyph similar to the figure 8, which are carved inside its nostrils. It is also notable that depictions of this god lack headbands, ear ornaments, or other signifiers of stature, though whether this suggests that this was a deity of lesser importance is not known. Although most anthropologists now accept that these are distinct and different deities, they are not always consistently portrayed. For example, eyebrows which seem to emit flame are a feature of the earth.
We're just at the beginning of a great journey of exploration. Think of all the different kinds of
monster, but they also appear on some versions of the bird monster. Some historians claim that what seem to be distinct and different deities are actually just different depictions of the same god. For example, some people claim that the Banded Eye God is simply another depiction of the maize god. Part of the problem is that there are no surviving accounts of Olmec religious practices, so what we know about these has been reconstructed from archaeological finds and from the study of later, better documented Mesoamerican societies, which are believed to have derived from the Olmecs. It is thought that Olmec religious ceremonies were conducted by their rulers, priests, shamans, and healers. These ceremonies were conducted at special religious sites, such as those discovered at San Lorenzo, though we know little about the form they took. It is generally accepted that the Olmecs, like most subsequent Mesoamerican cultures, believed in three separate but interconnected realms: the earth, upon which the Olmec lived and farmed, the sky, inhabited by the gods, and a watery underworld accessible only through secret caves. The discovery of what appear to be small offerings at ceremonial sites suggests that the Olmecs may have given material objects to the gods. The discovery of sharp blades made from stingray spines at the same sites indicates that these ceremonies may have involved some form of bloodletting. The finding of the bones of children and infants has caused some anthropologists to wonder whether Olmec religion also involved human sacrifice. The bones of small toads, which, when consumed, cause intense and vivid hallucination, have also been discovered at Olmec religious sites, leading to speculation that shamans may have used such things to attain states of altered consciousness during ceremonies. It is thought that some mountains were regarded as sacred by the Olmecs. Olmec carvings and sculptures have been found at the peak of the volcano San Martin Pahapan, for example, and it is believed that earth pyramids amongst religious buildings in later Olmec cities were created to act as symbolic sacred mountains during ceremonies. There may be a final aspect to Olmec religion which seems rather odd today. They may have played ball games as part of these ceremonies. The Olmecs were amongst the first people to harvest latex from Panama rubber trees growing in the area, and to mix this with juice from a local vine to produce rubber. Small rubber balls have been found in several Olmec sites. There is solid evidence that the Olmecs played some sort of ball game, and that they even played this game within specially constructed courts. Some Olmec sculptures are portrayals of ball players. These courts seem to have been placed close to religious buildings, leading to speculation that the playing of a ball game formed part of a religious ceremonies. The Olmecs buried their dead, and in the case of significant people, this appears to have been an elaborate process. The body was placed in a shallow grave in the center of a ceremonial court, wearing ear decorations, headbands, amulets, and other signifiers of status. The body was covered with red clay, which was then studded with 37 jade celts, axe heads. The grave was further decorated with precious stones and other valuable items before being covered in a large mound of earth. The artifacts that have been discovered allow us to make certain assumptions about Olmec religion and gods, but like so many aspects of this mysterious and little understood people, we cannot be certain that these assumptions are correct. Olmec religion is as unknown to us as most other aspects of Olmec life.
It's really loud. Why is that so loud? Okay, music. Jesus Christ, it's only on 50.
Talking today about a term that you might not have heard before, hyperfunnels. That's because I created the term. Like Kurt said, I've been pretty much into creating stuff since the time I've been into internet marketing, video sales letters, AI, copywriting, all this kind of stuff. Well, hyperfunnels is the latest thing, and it's going to allow you to create everything that you need for a six-figure offer and 7- and 8-figure if you have the products to do it. And you can do this in under 60 minutes. And what I mean by under 60 minutes is all the sales copy that you need for an entire hyperfunnel. Now, a hyperfunnel, I'm going to go into detail on what that is inside this workshop and why it blows normal funnels away. And I'm going to show you the simple tool that we use to create them virtually on autopilot. So I am, again, John Benson. I'm known as the $1 billion copywriter because I'm one of the 3 guys I know that have done $1 billion in copy, meaning my copy and words and customer copy has sold $1 billion. So with that, I want to offer you a few promises. Now, these promises are bold, and I will come back and circle back to these about 25 minutes from now and make sure that I have fulfilled them to your liking, to your expectations. Obviously, some of these you're going to fulfill on your own, but here's what I want to do. Give you a tool to help you make more money online this year. Yes, even in this crazy economy that we're in right now, in all of your years combined, online. That's the promise. That's a bold promise. Well, I'm going to also promise to help you earn it faster, more in the next 30 days than the past 30 months. If you apply what I'm teaching, you have to apply what I'm going to show you to make that work. It's not magic, okay? Do it easier than you believe is possible right now. If you are a product creator, or if you are if you have a service that you're passionate about delivering to others, I'm going to help you impact the world with your unique message and vision, because it may be getting lost in the noise out there right now. There's a lot of noise in the world right now. A lot of people being bombarded by different email promotions and different campaigns because of this crazy pandemic economy that we're in. And I want to give you a tool that will help you rise above the noise and cut through and clarify. So who can use this tool?
Oh, I'm getting inboxed on this shit, yo. What the fuck?
If you're a copywriter, you're wanting to say start a lucrative copywriting business from scratch,
man.
or maybe you want to supplement your money, your income with some.
Getting inboxed. Yo, this tranny post is crazy. What is this? What is this? Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm so mad I don't have a PlayStation on pre-order. Da-da-da-da. I don't have a PlayStation on pre-order. Da-da-da-da. I'm so mad. I could kick your ass because I don't have me no PlayStation. And I'm so mad. I don't have a PlayStation on pre-order. And I'm so my bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm truly frustrated. But I'm so mad. Don't have a PlayStation on pre-order. I'm so mad. Are there alien artifacts in our solar system? Really? Like the Black Knight satellite? Y'all ever heard about that shit? The Black Knight satellite. Somebody look that shit up, yo. Y'all can look up the Black Knight satellite. That shit old. Yeah, that shit been watching us for years. Word up. Word to mother. Wow, messages.
Welcome back, everybody. On the final leg of our megalithic marathon today, and we now have our keynote speaker for Saturday, Graham Hancock, who's going to be discussing themes from some of his earlier books. The title of the talk is A Species with Amnesia. Many of you know Graham's work through his documentaries, through his incredible historical investigations and the numerous books that he's written. And also recently he's got into novel writing as well. And today he's going to be exploring the lost civilization from prehistory. So please give a warm welcome to Graham Hancock.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here. This is indeed a marathon, exhausting day. And I'll do my best not to just sort of fall over on stage, and I'm sure you guys will do your best to stay awake back there. One of the good things about being last is I can go on a little bit longer. I've got an hour, but you know, I think maybe 2 or 3 hours might do it. Well, I'll do my best to keep it tight. I've been involved in these mysteries for more than 20 years. I've had the incredible privilege and opportunity to explore and experience some of the most majestic monuments left for us to puzzle over by our ancestors. In all my travels and all my adventures, I've been buoyed up by the presence of my wonderful, wonderful wife, Santha, who is terrible day and night. It was utterly obliterated. And that mankind was forced to begin again like children with no memory of what went before, that we were indeed a species with amnesia. Myth is found in India, where we have the Indian Noah figure, Manu, who is preserved by the god Vishnu to repopulate the planet, much in the way that Noah does in our Western philosophy.
No. Noah is the only character who's ever done that. There's no Vishnu and Manu who had a flood and built the boat. That shit is only in Christianity.
To repopulate the earth and to re-establish civilization. Similar stories have come down from the ancient Maya.
No, there can't be similar stories from across the globe, from other places that talk about this same thing.
Civilization as well. And of course we all know the Noah story from the
One of the last people to tell the story was Noah. Motherfucker's been telling that same flood story forever, bro.
Bible. Now, it's well accepted by scholars that the Noah story is simply a later recension of an earlier story that came from Sumer, from Mesopotamia, the land that we now call Iraq. And that story is the epic of Gilgamesh. And therefore it's interesting, I think, to look at what happened in the Arabian Gulf, the region from which the Epic of Gilgamesh comes, to look at what happened in the Arabian Gulf at the end of the Ice Age. This, of course, is the Gulf today, and this is how it looked during the last Ice Age. That is not an inlet of the sea there. That is a large river system combining the streams of the Tigris and the Euphrates, which had a series of very fertile lakes running along its length, all of which was flooded in one gigantic incident approximately 12,000 years ago. So I'm not at all surprised that a powerful memory of a cataclysmic flood is preserved in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The same is true with the Aborigines of Australia. We can see today in Australia as it looked during the last Ice Age. Clearly a huge amount of land has been swallowed up by the sea, and Aborigine myths remember this time and speak of a great flood serpent that ate up the land. As I say, I'm not surprised that we have these myths. I do believe we are a species with amnesia, and the myths are part of our memory, of a huge part of our story that we've lost. But they're not the only part. There's much more controversial material. And that controversial material, some of it, is contained in ancient maps. And maps suggest a level of technology and science that was far beyond the period in which they were derived. And before I go in more detail into the maps, I want to make clear that very often what we're looking at here are maps that were copied in the 15th, 14th, 15th, 16th centuries from earlier source maps. And those earlier source maps have now been lost to us. We have the latest copies of them. And often those copies were adulterated by the copyists based on what they were learning about the world during the era of exploration. Sometimes they would impose what they thought was new knowledge on the old map and mix things up a little bit. Now, if you go back to the Dark Ages, 7th century and so on, this represents the standard of map-making technology at that time. These are called TO maps because of the T shape in the middle and the O shape around the outside. They're actually quite beautiful maps, but you would never wish to use them for navigation because they're completely useless for that purpose, although very nice for hanging on the wall. In these maps, east is oriented up, so this is the east side here, this is west. This is actually the Mediterranean Sea, this is Spain, and here's the Holy Land at the center of the world, as it were. So these are the TO maps, and that was the standard of maps that were being used 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th century. But then, during the Crusades, something happened. It seems that a whole archive of other maps were released into general circulation and began to be copied, and at the same time, the maps of Claudius Ptolemy, who taught at the Library of Alexandria, which had been preserved in monasteries, were rediscovered and became the basis for the Ptolemaic cartographic tradition, reawakened in the year 1295. A category of maps that appeared at that time are the so-called Portolan maps. And these Portolan maps are a real mystery. They are really incredibly accurate in terms of not only latitude, which really any culture can figure out, but longitude as well, which our civilization didn't crack the problem of longitude until the end of the 18th century. That's why before that, ships were constantly sailing into coastlines unexpectedly because they didn't know how far east or west of a particular point they were. But these maps, which began to enter circulation in the 1300s, probably from Constantinople, which in turn had probably received them from the Library of Alexandria, contain incredibly accurate latitudes and longitudes, spot on accurate as today's maps. So it's quite difficult to see on this ancient map, but this is Italy here. We're looking at the Mediterranean. Very often you find that these maps do focus on the Mediterranean because that was an area of great interest to mariners at that time. But it's clear that they were copies they were fragments of much larger world maps. And Charles Hapgood, whose work I'd like to pay tribute to here, and his fantastic book, Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings, traces the Portolan cartographic tradition through a predecessor of Ptolemy's, and through the Library of Alexandria into Constantinople, released during the Crusades, and then out to European mariners. As I mentioned, the source maps were often world maps, and one of them is this map, the famous Piri Reis map. The bit that survived of this map is only the bit that shows the east coast of South America and the west coast of Africa. It was originally a world map, the other bits are lost, and in his own handwriting on the map, the map maker Admiral Piri Reis, who was a Turkish admiral, tells us that he had based his map on more than 100 older maps, none of which have come down to us. Now, of course, the Piri Reis map is a very controversial map, but what is striking about it is the way that the continent of South America seems to join on to a landmass at its tip. And this landmass, I would suggest, is Antarctica, as it looked during the last ice age, when it was much more extensive than it is today. Now, this is Antarctica as we know it on our modern maps. And this is Antarctica as it was known on maps at the beginning of the 19th century. As you can see, it isn't there. And it isn't there because our civilization didn't discover Antarctica until the year 1818. So naturally, if you drew a map in 1805, it would not have Antarctica on it. But the really puzzling thing is that maps much older than this one do have Antarctica on them. And these are the maps that are copied from older source maps, often by quite well-known map makers like Orontius Phineas, here with his extensive continent of Antarctica, joining on to South America, and also the great Mercator with his giant Antarctic continent joining on to South America. It's larger than Antarctica today, but in broad outline, the shape is correct. And we have to ask ourselves, how did Mercator and Orontius Phineas know that? And the answer is they copied it from older maps. You can go into many details on these maps. For example, a Ptolemaic map from 1513 shows a little island lying off the west coast of Ireland. And this island is labeled High Brazil. And I know of a couple of expeditions that were sent out from Bristol, which is quite near where I live in Bath in the UK, to look for High Brazil.
One more layer of details,
They
we
couldn't
in it.
find it, not in 1513 or in 1613 or today. What you actually need to find that island is a time machine. And we can do that with geological studies of sea level rise, which show us that until approximately 12,000 years ago, an island of exactly the right size, in exactly the right place, did indeed exist where it's shown to exist on that Ptolemaic map. The Waldseemüller map shows a vastly extended Southeast Asia. And if we look at the details, I think it looks a whole lot more like this than it looks like Southeast Asia today or in 1507. And it's not confined to Western maps. This Chinese map of the Gulf of Korea is carved on a stone stela in Xi'an. And here we see a much narrowed Gulf of Korea with a little inlet marked at the top of it. And again, the latest geological...
They give you the result, because like everything in life, it's up to you. And that brings me to something that I need to cover before I show you the hyperfunnel. I call it my pathetically obvious disclaimer. I put this training together as information only. No one ethical would ever promise you that you're going to get rich at anything. That's just absolutely unethical. Hell, I can't even promise you that you'll make a single penny, because I can't guarantee what you're going to do the moment you leave this workshop. And start watching Netflix. I don't know. You might do what you promised me you'd do and put this to use, making something online. That'd be awesome. Now, most of you won't make what I make, because I'm going to prove to you that I am who I say I am, and I'll show you some checks, and they're kind of big. I've got students that have passed me. I got students making 9 figures. Okay? That's possible. What I'll do today is show you what's possible. Let's take action on the information you're about to hear.
All right, I'm back.
Fair? Because that's the only way anyone ethical could ever teach you anything. Let's talk about the bare bones standard funnel. This is the absolute minimum that you need to make money online by generating traffic. This is the absolute bare bones minimum.
Evidence indicates that such an inlet did exist 12,400 years ago, before rising sea levels gave us the modern appearance of the Gulf of Korea. these two islands on this Portolan map from 1424 are really interesting. They're positioned by the mapmaker in the Atlantic Ocean,
on the other
and
side.
they've given rise to many suggestions that these must have been
Can I
the
even
islands
do
of
that?
Atlantis.
Is there enough room? Enough
There's
wire?
Spain, by the way, there, and we know that over here is North America. But in 1424, all North America had been lost.
Is that a
long
better?
before.
Gotta get that money shot.
Thought that if you sailed west from
Damn, this
Europe,
shit's swaying everywhere. What up, Sway?
eventually to China, that there was nothing in the way. That was
All right, well now I can kind of move it back this way, I
That's
guess.
what Columbus believed. When he sailed west from Europe, he believed that he was going to come to Japan and China. And Professor Robert Cusson of the University of Florida has demonstrated really beyond a shadow of a doubt that actually these two islands are the misplaced islands of Japan and Taiwan, located west of Spain. At that time, the prejudice was that they would find the coast of Asia over here. So actually, what the mapmaker has done is he's mixed up information from what he thought was true and what he found on the ancient map, and he's placed Japan and Taiwan in the Atlantic Ocean. But the really interesting thing is, when are these maps of Japan and Taiwan? Are they maps of Japan and Taiwan in the 16th century, or are they something else altogether? And again, we need to resort to geology to solve this problem. And we can see here what happened to the island of Taiwan during the meltdown of the Ice Age. Here it is today, and here it is deep in the last Ice Age, when it was physically joined to the mainland of China, as indeed the government of China would no doubt wish it still to be today. And then we gradually see it separating off from the mainland as sea level rises. And 12,400 years ago, we find that a little island, which no longer exists, was placed here between Taiwan and China. So if we look at the map on the Pisagano chart, the map of Antillia, and compare it, we can see that it also has a little island lying to the west of it called Yamana. Overlay the two, you can see the similarities quite strong, but particularly the existence of that little island to the west, which is only known to us today because of the latest geological work on sea level rise. What's it doing on a map from the 15th century? The other island, Satanase, is Japan, but not Japan as we know it today. Honshu, Kyushu, and Shikoku are Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu are all separate islands today. But during the last ice age, they were all one island because sea level was much lower. And what's intriguing on this map of Satanase is that an inlet is depicted exactly where an inlet existed 12,400 years ago, and up here this bay is also depicted exactly as it existed 12,400 years ago. Another 2,000 or 3,000 years and that would become the island of Shikoku, but as it's depicted on this map, it's showing us Japan as it looked 12,400 years ago. So here's a general summary of the situation in East Asia during the Ice Age, the greatly extended coastlines, and we've been through the story of Taiwan. So that's why Santa and I were really intrigued when we were approached by people in Taiwan who told us that they discovered a huge structure underwater between Taiwan and China in exactly the area where that lost island once existed. And this is the diver who found it, Steve Shea. We went out and joined him on a series of dives on this enormous underwater wall, complete with battlements that lies beneath the sea between Taiwan and China, with a curious patio in front of it. And when you get up close, you can rule out any possibility that we're dealing with some kind of freak of nature here, because you can actually see the construction blocks that we used to put this wall together, very, very finely fitted together. So quite a mystery. If we now jump over from Taiwan to the most southwestern of the Japanese islands, to Yonaguni, we will find a whole complex of further structures underwater. Santa and I, over the years, have put in somewhere between 200 and 300 dives at Yonaguni. And what I want to do now is to just take you around the main areas where the monuments are, starting here and going up the coast here, and just show you what we saw there. Starting at the west side of the system of monuments, we have this curved roadway between two parallel walls. Another view of it here, you can see that there's some rather interesting blocks off to the side. It's a beautiful curved roadway and two parallel walls. Let's now swim over in this direction, swimming to the east, and here to a tunnel. And I'm going to swim through that tunnel, and I want to show you what the inside of that tunnel looks like. That's what it looks like. With two
mi amor.
when you get to the end of the tunnel, you find yourself looking at these tunneling which are slotted into the side of a rocky
Yo, dude about to beat her ass with a fucking chair, yo. Say that, hey, bitch, what the fuck you doing twerking on Instagram? Get your ass off that shit before I crack this fucking seat over your head.
Doesn't seem to deter the geologists in this explanation. It's an awesome place to dive. I've been to a great many sacred sites, and I feel very strongly when I'm diving at Yonaguni that I am witnessing an amazing sacred site that was submerged more than 12,000 years ago. Now here we have a huge...
Alright, I'm coming back, guys, because I was going to see if I was going to get another message. My homegirl was texting me.
I want to bring you round here to the most famous parts of Yonaguni, which is the terraced, step pyramid-like area, which faces due south. And you can see that there are very regular angles and cuts into this. It is cut out of solid rock, much in the way that the Great Sphinx is cut out of solid rock. And again, the archaeological community is virtually unanimous in saying no nonsense. This
Alright,
is just
hold up. I gotta take a little break because this shit getting...
this could...
Sure, here about to be ratchet as fuck. Let me see this shit. Somebody touch somebody's girlfriend. Fight at Venice Beach leaves man with broken ankle after allegedly touching someone's girlfriend. Oh, whoa, what the fuck?
he done, fool. He done. Oh, he broke his ankle.
Damn. He got beat up and tried to stand up after the ass whipping and then fell and broke his fucking ankle. Oh, you had a rough day, homie. But the caption said, yo, he touched somebody's girlfriend or something. Bro, you can't be rubbing up on motherfucking strange women. You don't know. You don't know if they got a boyfriend, a husband, fiance. Alright, I'm good. Finally got these motherfuckers to shut up on Facebook, yo. Cause you ain't gonna out talk me on the goddamn post.
By human beings. There was no culture in Japan 12,000 plus years ago that was capable of making something on this.
You ain't gonna out talk me. Not on my own post. That's why I don't talk shit so much on Facebook. Cause I be trying to save it for when I really need for when I really need the shit talk. Got you, bitch. That's what you get. Thought I've been slipping? Nah. Building up ammunition.
This is Brian Forster, and this is part one in what will probably be about a 25-part series of our recent explorations in April of 2019 of Egypt and Lebanon. Obviously, this is in the region of the Giza Plateau. In fact, this is what is called by academics the Workers' Village. They date it at 4,500 years ago and suppose that this is where the Great Pyramid builders lived, but there is very scant evidence to substantiate that, as no hieroglyphics or other written records have been found. Date that this is the place where the builders lived. Now, the population was approximately 20,000 people, and its proximity to the Great Pyramid, of course, would lead some to believe that this is where of the Great Pyramid system lived. The quality of the workmanship of their own houses is honestly not that good, and many of us believe that the dynastic people found the Great Pyramids approximately 5,000 years ago in place, and that they date, in fact, to probably 12,000 plus years old, and were constructed by a very advanced civilization with high technology. This is the interior of a reasonably well-made building. You can see the limestone blocks, limestone mortar, the tight fitting, but of course the Great Pyramid with much more advanced technology. Here again is another limestone building. Relatively small stones with mortar construction. And in here, there are actually two chambers. We have Yusuf Alian, our guide, coming out. Susan Moore, our geologist, is inside inspecting the construction. So once again, just because is a village near the Great Pyramid doesn't mean that that's where the pyramid builders lived. So this, in fact, is a tomb area inside this structure. And once again, really good construction technique, but nothing on the scale, quality of the Great Pyramid. And it's actually quite mixed. You have reasonable style construction, some hollowing out of what could be the bedrock here, and then relatively crude construction in the same area. Of course, are some hieroglyphs, which I personally cannot read. This shows us that it's dynastic, of course. And once again, the village is dated to about 4,500 years ago. Now we have the Great Pyramid on the right and the second pyramid in the middle. And these, of course, are named as Khufu and Khafre, but it's highly unlikely, once again, that Khufu and Khafre were responsible for their construction. They were simply named after them because they were the most important people of their time. And of course, it's normal, if you are the ruler of an area, to have a massive structure like that named after you. And of course, we know that they were not used as tombs. So there, actually, we have pyramid number 3 of the Samas Menkaure, pyramid number 2, and there is pyramid number 1. What's interesting here is Susan is discovering and studying this fault line area. This is where a major upthrust occurred of the limestone bedrock. On closer examination, we can see lots of seashells, especially clusters of oysters. And since oysters tend to live in shallow water, means that this, of course, was the ancient ocean bed that was upthrust. And again, here we see more of this cataclysmic movement of the ocean bed. And in the background, the Great Pyramids. Now, this area is not open to the general public, but it's thanks to our connections that we were able to have an official visit to explore this facet of the Giza Plateau. And take into account that the Giza Plateau area is not simply where the 3 Great Pyramids are. You have to include other adjacent areas such as Abu Sir, Abu Ghurab, Abu Rawash, Saqqara. And the ancient name for what we call the Giza Plateau area is U-Wizir, or the land of Osiris. And this knowledge and teaching comes to us from Abdel Hakim Awiyan, who was Yusuf's father. And he is regarded by many to have been the greatest of the guides of ancient Egypt. Not only was he a local person, he also had 2 university degrees in archaeology and Egyptology, and as well, he understood the ancient Suf system, or Suf language, which was the language of the ancient Egyptians. So he could translate original place names into the meaning of what that place was. For example, the Bed Pyramid he called Seneferu, or Sneferu, which means double harmony. And that suggests that, again, the great ancient pyramids were not tombs, but were vibrational structures. So here we are. On the left-hand side is the relatively modern cemetery. This is where Abdel Hakim is buried. And now we're going to start walking down and see some other interesting structures in this area, which again are not open to the general public, but are available for viewing if you have the right permit. Now, it's thanks to being able to be on the ground that we can make these observations, which don't match up with some academic work. And that, again, is why we do this trip once a year. Our next one will be in March of 2020, and we invite you to come along with us. The spaces available will be limited, and so if you're interested in joining us, please contact me through my website, hiddenincatours.com, or Patricia at chematology.com. So this is our final walk around, and we're looking into and seeing different ancient caves as well as the strata of the limestone material. So these ancient caves could very well have been tombs or areas where stone was extracted. And a very important point to make is that on the Giza Plateau, of course, there were many burials during dynastic times, but in many cases those burials were done in shafts and tunnels that were constructed at the same time that the Great Pyramids were constructed. So much farther back in time than dynastic times, more likely in the region of 12,000 years ago. And as a special treat, we were also allowed to see this ancient megalithic wall, again through special permission. And this wall is called the cave. No, it's not the wall. That's slight confusion. It's called the Crow. Why it has a name like that, I have absolutely no idea. But as you can see, very massive megalithic block on top. The original function of the wall was, we don't know. Believe that it may very well be contemporary with the construction of the Great Pyramids, or possibly is a dynastic construction. The massiveness of these megalithic blocks on top, either created originally by the pre-dynastics or constructed by the dynastic people. That's one advantage of joining us on tour. Again, the next one will be in March of 2020. Meet me at Contact in the Desert, May 31st to June 3rd in California. And please think about joining us on a tour of India in January of 2020.
Okay, I'm going to take you on an adventure around the world. And we're going to see clear evidence of an ancient series of cataclysms that happened in deep antiquity prior to the time that civilization is supposed to have existed. And you'll see that lost ancient high technology and very advanced civilizations were on this planet 12,000 plus years ago. So we're going to study sites of a megalithic nature in Peru and Bolivia, also in Egypt, even more evidence in Peru and Bolivia, even more evidence in Egypt, and also Mexico, and specific sites such as Pumapunku and Tiwanaku in Bolivia, and Baalbek in Lebanon.
That's really where I
So
want to go,
this
yo.
location is called Machu Picchu, located in the high Andes of Peru. And what you can see in the photograph is the stonework in the lower half is superior to the work in the upper half. Now some people would say, well, the lower half work was the foundation, therefore it had to be stronger than the upper stonework.
However, look at this. This is also at Machu Picchu, and this wall was never restored in modern times, known to the Spanish conquistadors, and so this is from the Inca time frame up to around 1535 AD. And you can see that the upper work is more or less rubble compared to the megalithic work below. So what you're seeing evidence of is that the Inca found the ancient site of Machu Picchu and they rebuilt it. The mystery is, who were those that came first and did the original megalithic construction? And we have legends from around the world, not simply from the Bible, but more than 200 indigenous cultures that talk about an ancient flood, whereby their world, whether it was a continent or simply an island, went through a flood stage, where the ocean level rose and those that lived there had to flee. So we're getting more and more scientific evidence that something came into our solar system around 12,000 years ago and wreaked havoc. It quite possibly created what's called the asteroid belt. It might have turned Saturn or Uranus on its side. It may be the reason why Venus turns or rotates backwards, and why our planet is at a tilt of 23.5 degrees. Because in a perfect universe, all of the planets should be perfectly vertical and moving in harmony with each other. So this man was called Plato, and he wrote an account based on much earlier accounts, and even much earlier accounts, that there was a landmass that existed called Atlantis, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, and that this landmass disappeared approximately 12,000 years ago. His, of course, was not a first-hand account. The sources go back to ancient Egypt. But there could be some actual truth to the story and legend of Atlantis. Also, about 12,000 years ago, you had the die-off of what are called the megafauna of North America. Millions of giant animals very rapidly disappeared. And there's no environmental shift or climate change shift or whatever that can explain such a rapid decimation of the woolly mammoths, the saber-toothed cats, etc. However, in Siberia, thousands, if not millions, of in Siberia, thousands, if not millions, of woolly mammoths have been found flash frozen with food still in their mouths. And climate change can't explain that. But maybe something happened to the orientation of our planet. Possibly one day it was vertical, and then the next day it was tilted by 23 degrees. So the mammoths, etc., could have moved from a temperate climate to Arctic almost instantaneously. Because again, why is our planet at a 23-degree tilt, or more specifically 23.5 degrees? Why is it not vertical? It may have been struck by an enormous force that caused it to go from this to that. Conventional academics say that it was the Native American people who wiped out all of these megafauna somewhere around 12,000 years ago, simply by hunting them. But there were millions of them, and probably only thousands of these native people. So that is not a logical answer. However, in the 1950s, a book was written called Cataclysm, Compelling Evidence of a Cosmic Catastrophe in 9500 BC, which is 11,500 years ago. But let's just round the whole thing off to 12,000 to make it simpler. So according to them, a comet or pieces of a comet struck the planet and wreaked havoc, wiped out the megafauna, changed the environment of the entire planet, because you have, again, movement from perfectly vertical to 23.5 degrees. So that means going from tropical suddenly to temperate, temperate suddenly to Arctic, etc. That would have wiped out almost all plant and animal life and human life on the Earth. And so their work was then followed up by Barbara Hand Clow, and her book was originally called Catastrophobia. And in it, she states that 12,000 years ago, a series of cataclysmic events happened. Most of the human population died out, and those that survived had to find refuge in recesses, as in caves. So according to her, this is the caveman period, from about 12,000 years ago until about 6,000 years ago, when we have the rise of civilization. So she believes that the rise of civilization such as Sumeria, the Indus Valley, Egypt, etc., was a renaissance. It was not the first evolvement of high civilization, but a renewal of humanity. And then we have Dr. Paul Laviolette, who's an American physicist. And according to his research, the center of our galaxy is not a black hole, but a pulsar. And every 13,000 years, or precessional cycle, half of a precession, that the center of our galaxy fills up with energy, and because it's a pulsar, it then releases the energy. So, this energy, including gamma rays, etc., spread across the galactic plane, entered our solar system, created the asteroid belt, went through the sun, and shot solar plasma straight at our planet. And so you see that these theories from different sources are starting to overlap. And his theory is called the galactic superwave. Again, once every approximately 13,000 years. And the work of geologist Robert Schoch. Now he emphasizes the solar plasma theory. It's not that the solar plasma struck all over the Earth, but very specific random locations. We're going to see evidence that his theory makes a lot of sense. So when we take all of those theories and put them together, we come up with my book, Aftershock, which looks at, I think, the most compelling aspects of those different theories and puts them together in a cohesive manner. And so according to Schoch, he believes that the end of the last ice age, which was about 12,000 years ago, was incredibly dramatic, and that the solar plasma caused a mass, especially of the northern ice sheet, as in the North Pole, to not simply melt, but to vaporize from ice to vapor, and that caused what's called the Great Flood.
Oh my
as in
God.
rain for 40 days and 40 nights, or maybe 40 years. But mounting scientific evidence is showing that the world's oceans rose by 300 plus feet, or 100 meters, very rapidly. And very rapidly meaning maybe in a year or less. This could have been what we call the flood. So rather than Atlantis being a landmass that sank, the waters rose and buried this ancient civilization and possibly others. Those that were able to escaped, those that were not able to perished, and those with advanced technology that were able to escape may have resettled in different areas, such as the highlands of Peru and Egypt. So solar plasma is so intense in terms of heat that it would vaporize anything where it struck. That means all organic life would be gone in a flash. All the plants, all the animals, all the knowledge. What would be left behind would be stone structures. And this is where we get into the curious structures beginning in Peru. You can see where my finger is. That is a basalt stone wall in the city of Cusco. Basalt is 7 out of 10 hardness, with 10 being diamond. If this was created by the Inca civilization, they only had bronze chisels with a hardness of 3.5. So you can't cut basalt at all with bronze. It'd be the equivalent of trying to cut down a tree with a plastic knife. It's impossible. It's not difficult, it's impossible. So this wall, for example, you can't fit a human hair in the joinery, and this wall is more than 3 feet thick, perfect from front to back and inside. This would be very difficult to achieve today. And then another structure, which is Inca. This is where we get into the Inca building on an older foundation. So here you see that 3/4 or 4/5 of the wall are actually adobe, which is a mix of clay, mud, and stone. And at the base, we have a basalt megalithic structure. So what we can say is that the Inca found the basalt structure and then built on top of it. Also nearby in Cusco, you see on the right side relative basalt rubble put together with clay mortar, and then on the left, perfect construction in basalt, no mortar, all the stones interlock. So here again, the Inca found the remains of a megalithic site, and they simply built on top of it. And this possibly shows the clearest evidence. On the right-hand side, the intact megalithic basalt wall. Then on the left-hand side below, where the Inca found some of the basalt blocks and put them back into place, then they ran out of material and had to find other stone in the area and fill it in. So there you have 3 different forms of construction, the superior one being on the right and the oldest. Then when we look at a topical map of the city of Cusco, made by the first Spanish arrivals around 1535 AD, you see thick walls and thin walls. So this is right when the Spanish first entered Cusco, the first Europeans, and the map maker was able to distinguish the megalithic thick walls with the Inca thin walls. So this is before any colonial Spanish building was done. This by itself shows you that the Inca found an abandoned megalithic city and rebuilt it. And the very complicated polygonal work that we find in Cusco. Every stone a different shape and size, and these curious knobs protruding from the surface. This is not a logical way of building a wall from a European mindset, because we would use uniform shapes and sizes. And so it's kind of an illogical way to do things, but what it shows us is someone had very advanced technology and was able to simply build this quite rapidly and have all the stone interlock, a feat that would be very difficult today. And again, evidence of an ancient construction technique and then a later Inca construction. This is the base of the wall. Higher up, you see that the Inca came and filled in using whatever stone they could find in the area. So superior below, inferior above. And this photo shows you how the Inca were trying to replicate the ancient style. They made the stone in the front fit perfectly together, but since this wall was destroyed probably during Spanish colonial times, we can see the inside of the wall. And if you look very carefully, you can see the fitting is like this. You have perfect joinery in the front, but in the back it flares out. That's a relatively easy way to build a wall and make it look like it's complicated. As we wander around the city of Peru, we come to Sacsayhuaman. These stones are the largest ones ever cut and put into place in the Americas. These ones here average 20 to 25 tons, But there are stones at Sacsayhuaman that weigh 125 tons. There is one which is 29 feet tall, 12 feet of it is underground, 17 feet above ground. And then in the upper area, on the left and right, you see the smaller stones. That is Inca repair work, because the Spanish never did repairs at this location. It was a pagan site, they called, so they forbade any use by the Inca or their descendants of it ever since. So that makes it a time capsule. And this, in the Sacred Valley of Peru, is the winter palace of one of the highest of the Inca. And you can see this was made probably in the 15th century AD. You see the inferior style of construction, adobe mud and some blocks stuck together. A royal high Inca, if they were capable of making things in a polygonal and megalithic fashion, would have done so. But this shows they did not have that capability. And then also here, we're at Ollantaytambo, which is in the Sacred Valley of Peru. This is an Inca work. It's relatively crude, but it's large. These were grain storage areas and potato storage areas. It was built 1,000 feet above the valley floor, is huge, but the technology used was really quite simple. Stone and adobe and plain mud. But in the same location at Ollantaytambo, you have this construction. You have 6 granite blocks weighing 60 tons plus, still interlocking almost perfectly. And the quarry from which this granite, or actually porphyry, stone was taken is in the photograph on the left on the top of that mountain. That is across the valley. It's a great distance and an incredible feat for anyone to do. Another clue as to the inheritance by the Inca is when we walk around to the left-hand side and look at the wall. And here we see crude work on top, megalithic work on the bottom. So again, an Inca inheritance reconstructed. Now we're moving to the famous site of Machu Picchu. And Machu Picchu, most academics say, was 100% made by the Inca in the course of 25 years. The sheer scale of the complex would make it impossible to construct in that time period. And once again, we find anomalies. Here, the wall in front is very crude. The wall in the back, all of the stone interlocks perfectly. And this stone is granite with a hardness of 7 out of 10. The Inca were a Bronze Age people.
Granite,
Bronze
diorite,
cannot
diamond.
cut granite or any other hard stone. Then again, as we visit this location one more time, this has not been reconstructed. Look at the crudeness of the work on top as compared to below. The gaps in the giant blocks below were the result of a massive earthquake that likely happened at the time of the cataclysm 12,000 years ago. And this is further emphasized by this 3-sided structure where the right side has sunken into the ground by 2 feet or more, almost a liquefaction of the substrate. The wall has been pulled apart, and I was there with a geologist, and she said, if this much damage had happened to this megalithic structure, then the rest of Machu Picchu would be in complete ruins. So the Inca found this structure, could not rebuild it, and then built around it. They built their city around a megalithic core. Also at other locations, we have megalithic structures where, in this case, a multi-ton stone shaped and then simply snapped in half like it was styrofoam. So let's move now to Tiwanaku, which is located 13,000 feet above sea level near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia. This stone is comprised of 2 different types of stone. One is red sandstone, from a quarry about 8 miles away. Some of these blocks weighing 100 tons over a rolling landscape. And then the gray stone, which is called andesite, designated by the vertical pillars you see, it's from a quarry on top of a volcano more than 50 miles or 75 plus kilometers away. So at Tiwanaku, which also has a component called Pumapunku, so Tiwanaku and Pumapunku are actually the same location. They were all originally constructed at the same time. Tiwanaku was later inherited by what they call the Tiwanaku culture, and Pumapunku, which is a low-lying structure, was in fact buried by a wall of mud, likely 12,000 years ago, during the cataclysmic events. So here we find the famous H blocks, of which there are 8. Each one is a different shape and size. So there are some theories that the H blocks were created using molds, but each one is slightly different. So each one was crafted individually. And then we go to the excavations. So all of the excavation work done, especially recently at Tiwanaku and Pumapunku, the archaeologists have only dug down 2 feet. And then when you ask them, why don't you dig deeper? Maybe there's more underground. They say no. We don't believe there's anything deeper than that. However, ground-penetrating radar done independently has shown there are chambers, quite large, underneath the ground at Tiwanaku and probably at Pumapunku. So this is an example of where academics probably know that there's much more to the history of Tiwanaku and Pumapunku, but they are simply ignoring the facts. Again, we have evidence of a massive cataclysmic event, a wall of mud striking Pumapunku and Tiwanaku, a tsunami that came from Lake Titicaca, burying aspects of it, and the precision which you see in this photograph.
I can't stop yarning. Let me get out of here. I might need to take a nap. I was up kind of late and then got up early to go to the gym.
Who were pre-Inca, but still did not have the tools to be able to shape this stone, because this andesite is 7 out of 10 in hardness, bronze is 3.5. These are almost laser flat surfaces. So in Pumapunku, all we see is geometry. All we see are angles.
Take me a nap.
We don't see
Wake
any
up and cook my
artwork.
dinner.
We simply see precision,
And then I'll probably come back in the studio
and we see
tonight.
pragmatic practicality. Recent studies here have shown
But hell, I really got very little painting done. But it's cool. Like I said, I did some painting late last night without streaming. But this morning I talked on the stream for over an hour, and then while I was painting, me and one of my really good friends were having a little conversation on Facebook Messenger. But it's all good. I did get a little bit done working on that hand. Those hands are looking nice. So I'll try to finish up this area next. And then after I do that, I'll come back and work on this bracelet and this watch, and then we'll do the shirt. Sounds like a plan? But right now I feel extra sleepy. God damn. As soon as I get out the studio, I'm gonna get a second burst of energy and be like, oh, let me go do this, let me go do that. Oh, I do need to go get some sushi, yeah. I mean, not sushi. Damn, I'm sitting up here looking at your name and then it said sushi. I meant some ginger. I need some ginger. A fresh ginger root. Real quick, so I can make this tea when I cook my dinner. I meant to cook that shit up earlier. I meant to do a lot of shit, but didn't do it. Oh well. Oh. Shit, I cannot stop yarning right now. I need to go lay down. I think the doobies was too strong this morning. Strong ass doobies this morning. Catch y'all next time, yo. Peace.